Nebuchadnezzar, from a king to an animal. There are many curses in the Bible, given that the word curse appears almost 200 times. It is clear that it is an important matter for us to investigate. This tragic story starts with a mysterious dream. As you read the Bible, you'll come across several kings. One of the most mighty kings mentioned in the Old Testament is King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. He lived a dramatic, exciting life. In an ancient time, Nebuchadnezzar was the most powerful monarch. During that time, he united the Babylonian Empire, the world's largest kingdom. The capital city of Babylon, surrounded by great walls and deep canals, was considered unassailable. Nebuchadnezzar constructed a magnificent hanging garden for his wife, as well as the Temple of Marduk, which contained golden images of the pagan gods Bel and Ishtar. Babylon was a city of gold, because Nebuchadnezzar used so much gold in his building projects. In addition to being a skilled builder and military leader, King Nebuchadnezzar was also a skilled builder. To expand his empire, he fought neighboring nations. Under his leadership, Babylon became one of the most famous cities of its time. In honor of pagan gods, he built hundreds of temples and altars. However, Nebuchadnezzar had one trait that was going to threaten all his greatness. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream that his own wise men could not interpret, so he sent for Daniel and told him about the dream. Nebuchadnezzar had seen a tree high, beautiful, fruitful. Daniel 4:10-18, New American Standard Bible. Now these were the visions in my mind as I lay on my bed. I was looking, and behold, there was a tree in the middle of the earth, and its height was great. The tree grew large and became strong, and its height reached the sky, and it was visible to the end of the whole earth. Its foliage was beautiful and its fruit abundant, and in it was food for all. The animals of the field found shade under it, and the birds of the sky lived in its branches, and all living creatures fed from it. I was looking in the vision of my mind as I lay on my bed, and behold, an angelic watcher, a holy one, descended from heaven. He shouted out and spoke as follows: "Chop down the tree and cut off its branches, shake off its foliage and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it and the birds from its branches. Yet leave the stump with its roots in the ground, but with a band of iron and bronze around it, in the new grass of the field. And I let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him share with the animals in the grass of the earth. Let his mind change from that of a human, and let an animal's mind be given to him, and let 7 periods of time pass over him. This sentence is by the decree of the angelic watchers, and the decision in a command of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that the Most High ruler over the realm of mankind, and he grants it to whomever he wishes, and sets over it the lowliest of people. This is the dream that I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now you, Belteshazzar, tell me its interpretation, since none of the wise men of my kingdom is able to make known to me the interpretation. But you are able, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you." Daniel explained to the king that the tree represented him and his worldwide empire. The stump symbolized the restoration of Nebuchadnezzar, not his destruction. Daniel also counseled the king to change his ways. However, the dream came to pass after 12 months of impenitence on the king's part. Daniel 4:28-36. All of this happened to Nebuchadnezzar the king. 12 months later, he was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon. The king began speaking and was saying, "Is this not Babylon the Great, which I myself have built as a royal residence by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty?" While the word was still in the king's mouth, a voice came from the heaven saying, "King Nebuchadnezzar, To you it is declared, sovereignty has been removed from you, and you will be driven away from mankind, and your dwelling place will be with the animals of the field. You will be given grass to eat like cattle, and 7 periods of time will pass over you until you recognize that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind and bestows it on whomever he wishes. Immediately the word concerning Nebuchadnezzar was fulfilled, and he was driven away from mankind and began eating grass like cattle, and his body was drenched with the dew of heaven, until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers and his nails like birds' claws. But at the end of that period, I, Nebuchadnezzar, raised my eyes towards heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of earth are of no account, but he does according to his will among the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of earth, and no one can fend off his hand, or say to him, "What have you done?" At that time my reason returned to me, and my majesty and splendor were restored to me for the honor of my kingdom, and my state counselors and my nobles began seeking me out. So I was re-established in my sovereignty, and surpassing greatness was added to me. We have Nebuchadnezzar's recovery and his return to his right mind at the end. King Nebuchadnezzar established himself as one of the most arrogant leaders in history, so self-centered and prideful that God dealt with him most unusually. God removed him from his position and drove him into the wilderness to live like an animal. God's discipline worked. Fortunately, as soon as the king returned to the palace, he changed completely. No longer did he claim sovereignty or wisdom. His greatness was seen as a gift from God. The source of all good things was God, not him. Several proverbs warn against pride as a dangerous sin. Proverbs 16:18-19, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before stumbling. It is better to stumble in spirit with the needy than to divide the spoils with the proud." As this passage clearly explains, pride leads to humiliation. The honor comes from humility, the opposite of pride. Pride sets us down an ill-fated path. To choose pride is to set oneself up for a fall. The pedestal we make for ourselves proves a shaky footing. Fearing the Lord involves respect, reverence, and submission. Since the Lord is infinitely wiser than we are, we acknowledge our desperate need for him. Proverbs 3:7. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil.